All right, everyone, welcome back into another NBA DFS video. Going to be breaking down this Monday slate. Let's go ahead and get into it. So let's start out here with the opening game, which is going to be the Bucks versus the Wizards. Giannis is currently questionable, but I'm expecting him to play. And if he does end up playing, he's looking like a pretty solid option for us on the slate overall. That is assuming that the game stays close enough for long enough. The game against Brooklyn, guys, only needed to play 19 minutes in that game. Was able to put up 45.5 points in that game. Now, for the Bucks, with Kevin Porter Jr. being back for them, it really does kind of limit who we can be on for the Bucks just in general. The minutes for Kevin Porter Jr. are projected to be about 25 points, and as price tag, he's basically priced correctly. Even though this is a good matchup that we want to target, basically everyone is priced correctly right now, especially like AJ Green, who's been going off recently. He is now priced up to the point where we would definitely need him to be hot shooting the basketball once again to even consider him being able to hit off that price tag. So I don't mind any of the Bucks plays. I just think they're all correctly priced. And it's worth calling out, guys, the data also agrees with that. It's basically Giannis, and then everyone else is basically correctly priced. We go ahead and jump on into Washington, guys, and for them, Cam Whitmore is kind of someone that's popping up as a decent value, projected to get 23 minutes, not terrible. For the slate, we really aren't getting any great value as it currently sits, so he might be someone that we are forced to look into. And then from there, for Washington, we don't necessarily love anyone else from there, so I do think we can get to Whitmore before this game. I think we are just mostly looking at trying to get to Giannis. For what it's worth, though, like Chris Middleton is a little bit too cheap for a game against the Bucks. Maybe he's a little bit excited to play against them. Maybe gets a couple more shot attempts up. He's someone I will get some pieces to, but overall, not necessarily someone I feel like we need to go out of our way to target. And then we go ahead and jump on into Atlanta versus Detroit, guys. So Trae Young is going to be out. Porzingis could end up being active in this game. He's currently listed as questionable. Sat out on the front end of back-to-back yesterday, so I kind of am leaning more towards him playing. If he does end up playing, he's a little bit interesting at that price tag. If he does end up playing, though, that does kind of hurt everyone else we can be on. If you want to chase the form of Jalen Johnson, who's just been going off recently, I wouldn't hate that idea. This is a game, though, against Detroit that could end up being a blowout. It's a 9.3 spread right now. Okay game total, 234 if we round it up there. He is someone that I do think is in play. Obviously, if the game stays close, he's going to be part of the reason as to why. It is tough to ignore 2 straight 70-point DFS days as well. But yeah, if Porzingis ends up being back, that does hurt Jalen Johnson a little bit. And I will say Porzingis is somewhat appealing. But again, for this game, we're really not getting that much great value. And that's kind of the theme of today, guys. There's really not a lot of great value. Cade Cunningham is a fine play for Detroit on the other side of this game, but not necessarily a must play. And then like Duncan Robinson has been getting more run recently. If LeVert's back, his minutes might be capped. We do have him projected for 28 minutes, but he's correctly priced there as well. So just a tight slate just in general, guys, because we're not getting any elite value, and the top end plays that we want to get to are basically priced correctly. So now we go heading into Cleveland versus the Pacers here, guys. For Cleveland, they are going to be without Jared Allen once again, but they are getting back Lonzo Ball here. And so are there any plays that we can really get to here for Cleveland? I mean, I don't mind the idea of playing Evan Mobley here. He's went for 53 and 58 points the last 2 games. Jared Allen is still out. He does average about 45 fantasy points per 36 with him off the court. I do think that ends up being a good look for him. I like the fact that we can actually play him in the power forward spot as well. I'm not worried about this matchup here with the Pacers as well. From there, is there anyone else I can get to? I mean, if Lonzo Ball, if we knew he was going to get 30 minutes, I think we'd be interested in playing him at that price tag. Darius Garland, to me, is correctly priced, maybe a little bit too low price, given the fact that Allen is off the court, and he actually has some that benefits with Allen off the court. But overall, not necessarily a must play. I think we're mostly looking at Evan Mobley. And then for the Pacers, guys, I don't mind the idea of actually going back to the well with both bigs. In the last video I put out to you guys, I was saying we could be on Jay Huff and Isaiah Jackson as well as TJ McConnell. That actually ended up working out pretty well. Jay Huff has been someone that's been a little bit too efficient over the past several games. If he continues that, where he's shooting the basketball extremely well, he's too cheap at 5K even still. But if we're kind of holding that logic, we might as well just play Isaiah Jackson, who's basically the exact same play, just a little bit cheaper. Okay, so I really don't mind that approach. If you guys want to get to TJ McConnell still, you can. He's been going off recently in limited minutes. I don't mind that. They're kind of okay. They're all kind of shoulder shrug plays as they're being priced up enough. But let's go ahead and see what the data is telling us here. So guys, for Indiana, not much here. Nembhard's okay. The data is telling us as a value. Again, I don't mind the idea of getting to Jay Huff. And then Isaiah Jackson, someone I personally don't mind, projected for 23 minutes, but also it does kind of make sense why it wouldn't necessarily want us to go out of our way to target them. And then, yeah, like I mentioned, guys, Evan Mobley is a pretty good value today, 5.3x, which is not terrible. Then Jalen Tyson, I don't think we need to get to him with them being a little bit more healthy. I think that ends up kind of being the wrong minutes projection for him. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but with Lonzo Ball expected back, I think we'll see Tyson see a little bit less minutes, and thus he's not going to be a great value. And so now let's go ahead and jump on into Charlotte versus Brooklyn, guys. Brooklyn has gotten a little bit healthier now with Michael Porter Jr. being back and Noah Clowney being good to go here as well. We are really only getting one decent play in regards to going out of our way to target, and that's going to be Igor Demon here, who's not terrible. He is coming in off of a pretty good game, but value-wise, he's really the only good value play that we are getting for Brooklyn here, about 5.6x value at his price tag. I do think he's probably someone that we should be looking at as well. We go ahead and jump on into the other side of this game. I will say I like a lot of the plays a little bit more than the data's telling us. So Brandon Miller projected to get around 30 DFS points. I think he could end up having a ceiling closer to 40 DFS points, and as price tag, that's very appealing. Same thing with Colin Sexton. But instead of it being 40 DFS points, I'm thinking more of 30 DFS points. And at his price tag, I think he's pretty appealing at 5.1. Not a terrible match for either of them. So I don't mind the idea of targeting them at all. I think Con Knoble, he's okay. I just don't know if we necessarily need to target him that much, but I don't mind him. Same thing with LaMelo Ball, but really to me, the Miller and Sexton prices to me stood out. And it's not a bad game to target, like 4.6 point spread. We don't mind that. Not the highest scoring game at 228 if we round up there, but still, I do think this could end up being a game that we want to target just in regards to it being close. And then guys, we go ahead and get to Charlotte versus Chicago versus the Orlando Magic. Kobe White has been downgraded to questionable. If he ends up sitting, that does provide us some value on the slate here for Chicago. AO would end up becoming a very solid play at his price tag. And then honestly, like Josh Giddey becomes a much better looking play. Right now, he's kind of priced up enough to the point where I'm not really considering him, but he'd become much more appealing. And then maybe we could look at Trey Jones a little bit as well. It's kind of the issue though with the Bulls is they are kind of spreading out the minutes as well. But that is something we need to call. Kobe White being out would be pretty big for a lot of the other starters. And then for Orlando, same players are still out. The data likes Wendell Carter as a value. I'm okay with it, but I also don't feel like we need to go out of our way to target him. He's just okay. And so we go ahead and look at the value, guys. Right now, Kobe White is actually a pretty good value. Again, if he ends up sitting, I do think AO would end up becoming a pretty interesting play for us there. But right now, as it currently sits, not necessarily anyone that we need to go out of our way to target. And so, yeah, guys, really not much there here for Orlando as well. So let's go ahead and jump on into the late night game. We got the Clippers here going against Miami. For the Clippers, this is the slate, guys. I mentioned this a bunch. We don't necessarily have like any elite options. I think Chris Dunn's a little bit appealing at his price tag, 4K. If he ends up getting maybe closer to 30 plus minutes, he's like an okay shoulder shrug type play. If you end up on him to close out your builds, you're okay with it. We jump into Miami. I like some of the plays a little bit more than what the data is suggesting, especially Norman Powell. I think this could end up being a little bit of a revenge game for him going against the Clippers, but he's priced up correctly. You know, if we were getting him at 6.2, it'd be much more appealing, but he's someone that can get a hot streak in the basketball, so I don't mind chasing that, but basically everyone is priced correctly here for the Heat. That is the slate that we are getting, guys. And guys, we did just get news that Alex Sarr is going to be out in this game. So if he ends up sitting, or he is going to end up sitting, Marvin Bagley ends up being a pretty decent value for us. I don't mind playing him at the center spot for Washington. Not necessarily lock and load, but that's also going to make Cam Whitmore. Again, I don't necessarily love it, but he's somewhat more appealing here as well. And so let's try to go ahead and give you guys a first look build. Again, it's pretty ugly to do for this slate. I will admit, like there just isn't a lot of like starting points is what I would say. We'll go with Demon here in the point guard spot. He was something that was popping up somewhat data-wise, so I don't hate that. But again, I don't necessarily love it though. From there, maybe we do get to AO, hoping that Kobe White ends up sitting. That's a very big guess there though. We don't necessarily know that for sure. I'm fine getting to Brandon Miller then. And then we have about 6.6 left over for the guard position. Let's see who we can get to. Khan, I'm okay with that. Keyshawn George, I'm okay with. Kevin Porter Jr., again, I'm okay with. I honestly think I'd rather just get to Colin Sexton here. And then let's see, we have 6.9 left over. Can we upgrade at all? Powell, Garland. We'll go with Garland. I'm okay with that. So again, pretty ugly first build just in general. It's the week 13 NFL DFS main slate for us on Monday, NBA DFS wise. But let's go ahead and see what the data is telling us is going to be kind of the best builds here. I'm going to set the min value to 4, and then we're just going to run about 20 lineups here, guys. Nothing too crazy, but we'll show you guys kind of what the top builds are currently for the NBA DFS slate here as well. And so the top lineup right now, TJ McConnell, Desmond Bain, Brandon Miller, Cam Whitmore, Carter, Demon, Mobley, Siakam. So that's kind of a weird build, I would say, just in general. I kind of like the second one better. Demon, Tyson, Miller, Giannis, Carter. And I don't know if I necessarily need to get to Carter. I think we'll probably be looking at Bagley a little bit more once the data gets a chance to catch up to that news. But not, oh, he's in there. So, I mean, not a terrible build as a whole. But, I mean, this really does sum up the slate that we have in general. Pretty high total projected points actually for this slate. I'm a little bit surprised by that. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel as well, guys. Trying to get to 500 subscribers before the first of the year, before the new year. That'd be great if we could do that before that. That would also be awesome. That does help out the channel a bunch once we get to 500 subscribers. So I do appreciate you guys. Good luck with all your builds today. And as always, let's keep cashing.